What's up, everybody? It's Miranda Alcaraz, and this is the More Than Nothing podcast, episode number 21. We are deep into January now, but I am still over here talking about some of those resolutions that you guys might be working on. A lot of you have already, honestly, probably given up on, but it's something that's still on my mind, and I don't know if it's like the lack of sleep that I'm on right now because my toddler is just refusing to get completely used to his toddler bed, or just me being pregnant and exhausted. But I'm a little feisty this week. And, I like to talk about things on the podcast that are currently on my mind. So I don't plan them too far in advance as far as having like a structure week to week to week. I kind of just go with whatever I'm thinking about. And so this week might sound like a little bit of tough love, but I think a lot of us really need that, and a lot of us who are ready to hear that sort of thing can really benefit a lot from it. Now, if you find yourself being defensive during this podcast, that's probably honestly a you problem, and maybe you're just not ready to hear this type of thing yet. But I encourage you to fight the defensiveness and just listen and think if there might be a little bit of truth to the way that you're thinking, or the limitations that you're putting on yourself, or just how you're allowing yourself to have a little bit of a pity party, I guess. And the idea that I want to talk about today is that none of us are special. What? We're all special. I tell my kids they're special. I tell my kid he's special. It's special to me. We kind of live in this society now where everybody feels like they need a trophy and they deserve more than they've worked for, or they see someone got something and they think they deserve it, or it's not fair, or we're in a very that's not fair culture right now. And there are plenty of things that we won't go into politically, racially, gender things that's not what I'm talking about. What we're going to talk about is how we're not special in that we all have to work for what we want. We all have problems. They are not the same problems, but I can promise you this, and this kind of comes from a conversation I was having with someone on my Instagram comments earlier this week. But if you have an iPhone, if you're listening to this in some way, shape, or fashion, if you have a smartphone, if you have a computer, however you're listening to this, I can promise you that your problems are not as bad as 99% of the population of the world. So we have to remember that. We're all very privileged. The fact that you even have time to listen to this and know about it means that you're doing okay and that you've got some options in your life. So none of us are special. Another way that none of us are special is that, I was thinking about it. I've worked in the fitness industry for 20 years now. I've done gym membership sales at several different places. I've been an aerobic instructor. I've been a personal trainer, just been around, especially like bigger facilities. Way before I was even involved in CrossFit, I worked at like a tennis club where it was like mostly families. And then I worked at a Gold's Gym. I worked at a place called Lifestyles 2000. I worked at a place called Excel Fitness in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I've been around like these big box, like Globo type gyms, like conventional gyms. And if you're a member of one of those or ever have been a member of one of those, you know that this time of year, everyone comes out of the woodwork with their New Year's resolutions. So the fact that you have any sort of New Year's resolution about your health and fitness at this time of year solidifies the fact that none of us are special. Everyone can make a resolution. Everyone can make a goal. And whether it happens in January or in July or whatever, setting a goal is something that, I don't have a statistic for this one, but I would say at some point, close to 100% of the population does at some point in their life. People set out to do something. Setting out to do something, signing up for the gym membership does not make you different or special. Everybody does that. Everybody can do that. Starting a business I pulled up some statistics about these sorts of things to remind us that it's the setting of the resolutions or the goals. It is important and can be motivating, but that's not special that everybody does it. So I wanted to read you guys some of these. And to me, I've known this for a long time, but to some of you guys, this might seem surprising and you've never heard some of this stuff. So let's see here. As far as gym memberships go, according to a study, and this was back in 2012, but it sounds similar to what I've heard over the course of my career in fitness. 80% of gym members cancel their membership by the 5-month mark. 80%. So what makes you special is 5 months in, still making it happen. That's what's going to make you special. Not the first week of showing up, not the setting of the goal, not the walking into the gym to sign up. And yeah, I do talk a lot about, hey, just make that first step, just, get started, do something. But it's the follow through that's going to make us different. That's what's going to set us apart from everybody else. That's what's going to set apart this year or this season from any other time in your life. 14% of New Year's resolutioners quit before the end of February. So that actually sounds pretty low. That's a good 85% are still working on it by the end of February. And then we lost the rest of them almost all by the end of May. This is a funny one. 56% of regular gym goers don't like New Year's resolutioners. You guys, they get in the way, right? And it's kind of, I remember having that. 50% of new gym members also quit within the first 6 months. So those are the people who just come in January. So there's a lot of statistics around that, and it's not surprising. Maybe that 80% number is really surprising to you. But it's just to remember that if you want to be special, if you want to be different, if you want this year to be different, don't set different goals. Don't set different, don't join a new gym or a new program or, if that's going to help you to get past that 5-month mark. But what you really need to figure out is how to get that follow through to happen. So not everybody listening to this has a problem going to the gym or, I know a lot of our street parking members listen to this and they're like, I don't even have to join a gym. I just got to work out at home. How are you going to make that work for you at home? But let's say you've got a different goal, starting a business. So this is something that is now that I've done, and we're just past the 3-year mark for street parking. And it's the same thing. So the principle of how do I follow through at the gym versus how do I follow through with my business versus how do I follow through with staying in a anybody can get into a relationship. You guys understand that? Anybody can find someone. And I know there's at least 4 of you sitting there right now that are like, I can't find anyone. That's not true. But you could find someone if you really, went out there and looked or got on enough online dating apps. But what makes a difference? Because for small businesses, only 80% of them make it to the second year. Now that's pretty high. That's higher than that I think most things that you look up will tell you. But a very small percentage of them, again, make it past 5 years. Now, not every business idea is a good idea. Not every person is built to run a business or, other things can come into play, like the, landscape of what business you were trying to start changes completely. Like all of a sudden Amazon sells everything online and you were trying to have a retail store. So I get it, but it's the follow through. It's the day-to-day. It's after the initial idea, the fun of building it and growing it and finding a new space or, marketing it. It's the day-to-day grind that people get lazy with or make decisions to keep themselves entertained as opposed to what's best for the business, or they get sidetracked or whatever. The same thing happens to your fitness goals. You're like, okay, today I don't really feel like it. So that little bit of laziness comes in. That's not going to happen in the first week of January. You're pumped in the first week of January, but that first week of February, you're like, 3 days is enough this week. I made 4 days every week in January, like 3 days is enough. And then at some point, 2 days is enough. And slowly that kind of like laziness part of it creeps in. Or this program's really working, but I'm a little bit bored with it, so I'm going to try something completely different. And you detach from what's working for you because you're trying to entertain yourself as opposed to just staying the course. That happens with nutrition so much. People are like, yeah, I did it. I got kind of like, but then I went on a trip and it was more exciting and I ate fun food. And when I came back, I just didn't feel like going back to it, or you fell off track at some point. The same thing happens in relationships. Every relationship's exciting and fun in the beginning. This person is new. You're doing stuff maybe that you've never done before as far as like dates and things like that. I mean, when I met Julian, he was like a Los Angeles Hollywood tour guide and was like taking me all over the place to places that I'd never been before. We were salsa dancing and we were like doing all this stuff, and I hadn't been on a date in like a decade, and it was just awesome. But, and as exciting and entertaining as he still is as a human being, I see him every day now. And there are times when it's hard, and there are times when when I'm tired. And it's like now, those are the times where it's like, where you see people are like, this is boring to me now. How can I entertain myself through a new relationship? Or how can I go do something outside of my relationship? And it doesn't have to be something inappropriate, but like, picking up new hobbies that take you away from the relationship and the focus on that because you're just bored. Instead of focusing back in and digging back in and staying the course and, figuring out a way to not stay motivated, but just stay excited about the path that you're on, it's so easy to deviate. So you're not special in that everybody can start. Everybody can start doing something. What makes you special is the follow through. Your problems are not special. And I was kind of thinking about this, and to be honest, there are at least, I don't know, I'm going to guess like half of you at least have listened to my podcast or seen a video of me on Instagram working out, or a photo of me, definitely before I was pregnant, or even maybe when I'm pregnant, and thought it's different for her. She has it different than me. Her problems are easier than mine. She's never been this. She's never been that. She's never had to overcome this. And some of those things are 100% true. But things like she likes to eat healthy food. She likes to work out and I don't. She's already fit. The only reason that those things are true for me and not for you is because at some point in my life, I chose to make those things true for me, and I've never deviated from it. So I didn't, just because I made that choice at 18, 19 years old and built off of it, doesn't mean that you can't make that same choice now. So where you're at right now, you have a choice, and it's just changing those habits. So I don't have some special superpower where when I came out of the womb, I just enjoyed fitness and eating clean food. I have the same makeup as everybody else. I made a choice and I gained an education at some point on my own before I ever went to school for it about proper nutrition. I found a love of exercise quite honestly because a friend of mine had a membership to a gym and she always wanted to go there. It wasn't my idea. I still to this day don't feel like working out, especially when I'm pregnant most of the time, but it's a choice and we have the same choices. Yes, the choices are easier for me now because I've made them over and over and over again. And you just got to get yourself to that place. So if you want to be special, your family thinks you're special. Your loved ones think you're special. But if you really want to be different and you really want this to be a different time for you, I encourage you to know that what will make you different, what will make you that 20% of gym members who still keep going, or, if you're a street parking member and you work out at home, what's going to make you different and be in a completely different place next year and the year after isn't the way you start. It's the way you follow through. And I'm saying the way you follow through, not the way you finish, because there is no finish. And another thing that I realized this morning that you should be prepared for is the further along you get, actually, the more success that you have, the more you have to lose, and the scarier it actually can be. So if you're right now, starting street parking was not scary. I had a job. But now running street parking is terrifying because we've found success. We've got all these people out here. And now that's the scary part. Or if you've found success in your fitness and you've gained a good amount of fitness or you've lost weight or whatever it is, now you have something to lose. I think it's easy for people to quit when they have nothing to lose and they can blame it on something. So just be prepared that when you start to see success, that's when you're going to need to dig in even more, or you're going to realize, man, now I have a lot to lose. Same thing with a relationship. When I started dating Julian and I knew him for a week, I would have been sad if, I found out that he wasn't a good guy or whatever, but not nearly as scary as it would be if I found that out now, So I think a lot of people find comfort in having nothing to lose. I think living with nothing to lose is a lot more comfortable than living in a state of success. So that's a problem that I think a lot of people don't really think about or realize. When I broke my neck, when I was super fit, I had my whole life was about to change. I was about to lose everything, that being able to be a trainer, being able to be an athlete, being able to go on this career path. Like I thought I was going to lose all of it. So be prepared for that. Know that the follow through is what's going to make you special, not the way you start, not the goals you set, not the first week or the first month. Show how special you are through your ability to stick with something and to stick with it for the long haul, whether that's your business, whether that's your relationship, whether that's starting your garden, whatever it might be, it's always going to come down to the follow through. I hope you guys have a good week and we'll see you next time.